While most prophets delivered messages and warnings, one prophet consistently solved problems. While others spoke about what God would do, he demonstrated what God could do through creative thinking and unconventional solutions. His name was Elisha, and his approach to ministry was so innovative that it revolutionized how people understood divine intervention in practical life. Today, we're diving deep into the mind of the most creative problem solver in biblical history and discovering how his mindset can transform the way you approach challenges in business, relationships, and life.
Welcome to an exploration of one of Scripture's most fascinating characters. Today, we're studying Elisha, not just what he did, but how he thought. While his mentor, Elijah, was dramatic and confrontational, Elisha was creative and solutions-oriented. Where Elijah brought fire from heaven, Elisha brought practical innovation to everyday problems. Over his 50-year ministry, Elisha performed more recorded miracles than any other prophet, 16 specific supernatural interventions that reveal a consistent pattern of creative thinking, resourceful problem-solving, and innovative application of divine power. What makes Elisha unique isn't just the miracles, it's his mindset. He approached every problem as an opportunity for creative solution. He saw resources where others saw limitations. He found possibilities where others found obstacles. He demonstrated that divine power works best through human creativity, not despite it. We'll explore his most innovative miracles, analyze the thinking patterns behind his solutions, and discover how to develop the same creative mindset for tackling impossible challenges in your own life. If you've ever felt stuck by conventional thinking, needed breakthrough solutions for complex problems, or wondered how to combine spiritual faith with practical innovation, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell, because this episode will show you how to think like the most creative problem solver in biblical history.
The creative inheritance. Elisha's ministry begins with a bold request to his mentor Elijah. Please let a double portion of your spirit be upon me. 2 Kings 2:9. This wasn't a request for more power. It was a request for expanded capacity to innovate and solve problems. The double portion was the inheritance portion given to the firstborn son, indicating not just succession, but creative expansion of the family legacy. Elisha wasn't content to simply continue Elijah's approach. He wanted to innovate beyond it. This reveals the first principle of creative thinking. True innovation builds on previous achievements while expanding beyond their limitations. The modern innovation inheritance. We see this same pattern in today's most creative leaders. Steve Jobs inherited the computer revolution from pioneers like Steve Wozniak, but expanded it into consumer design elegance. Elon Musk inherited space technology from NASA, but innovated reusable rockets and private space exploration. Oprah Winfrey inherited the talk show format, but created unprecedented emotional connection and viewer empowerment. Jeff Bezos inherited online commerce concepts, but innovated customer obsession and logistics optimization. The most creative thinkers don't start from scratch. They build on existing foundations while pushing beyond conventional boundaries. The water problem innovation. Elisha's first recorded miracle demonstrates his unique approach to problem solving. When the people of Jericho complain that their water is bad and causes death and barrenness, conventional thinking would suggest finding a new water source or accepting the limitation. Instead, Elisha asks for a new bowl and puts salt in it. 2 Kings 2:10. He then throws the salt into the water spring while declaring divine healing. The water becomes permanently pure. This reveals Elisha's creative thinking pattern. Resource identification, using available materials, salt, in unconventional ways. Systematic approach, new bowl representing fresh methodology. Root cause solution, treating the source rather than symptoms. Permanent transformation, creating lasting change, not temporary fixes. The Netflix streaming innovation.
Reed Hastings faced a similar water problem when Netflix's DVD-by-mail business model was threatened by digital disruption. Conventional thinking suggested improving the existing mail system or accepting decline. Instead, Hastings made a counterintuitive decision, cannibalizing Netflix's profitable DVD business to invest in streaming technology that initially offered inferior selection and quality. Like Elisha's salt solution, this approach seemed illogical, but addressed the root cause, consumer convenience, rather than symptoms, competition from other DVD services. The result was permanent transformation of entertainment delivery. Hastings said, "We knew streaming would eventually win, so we decided to lead our own disruption rather than have someone else do it to us." The borrowed axe recovery. When a young prophet loses a borrowed iron axe head in the Jordan River, the situation seems hopeless. Iron was expensive, and the man couldn't afford to replace it. Conventional solutions would involve diving, dragging the river bottom, or accepting the loss. Elisha's solution is remarkably creative. He cuts a stick and throws it into the water where the axe fell. The iron floats to the surface, defying natural laws. 2 Kings 6, 1-7. This demonstrates several innovative thinking principles. Resource leverage, using simple tools stick to accomplish complex results. Natural law transcendence, not being limited by conventional possibilities. Immediate action, responding quickly with creative solutions rather than prolonged analysis. Personal investment, using his own effort and reputation to solve others' problems. The SpaceX landing innovation. Elon Musk faced a similar impossible recovery challenge when developing reusable rockets for SpaceX. Conventional aerospace wisdom said rockets couldn't land vertically after launch. They would either burn up or crash. Musk's team developed an unconventional solution, using the rocket's own engines to slow descent and land precisely on floating platforms in the ocean. Like Elisha's floating axe, this defied conventional understanding of what was possible. The innovation saved SpaceX millions per launch and revolutionized space economics. Musk later said, "If you're not progressing, you're regressing. So we always need to be moving forward with new ideas and innovation."
The widow's oil multiplication. Perhaps Elisha's most creative financial miracle involves a widow facing debt slavery. She has nothing except a jar of oil. 2 Kings 4, 1-7. Conventional charity would provide temporary relief, but Elisha creates a systematic wealth generation solution. His instructions reveal sophisticated business thinking. Asset identification. What do you have in your house? Resource acquisition. Go, borrow vessels from everywhere. Capacity maximization. Do not gather just a few. Systematic execution. Pour oil until all vessels are full. Debt elimination. Sell oil, pay debts, live on the remainder. This isn't just a miracle, it's a comprehensive business plan that transforms her from debtor to entrepreneur. The Shark Tank mindset. Modern entrepreneurs on shows like Shark Tank demonstrate similar creative thinking when facing financial crises. The most successful pitches identify existing assets, leverage available resources, and create systematic scaling solutions. Sarah Blakely started Spanx with $5,000 and an idea for better pantyhose. Like Elisha's widow, she had minimal resources but maximum creativity. She cut the feet off pantyhose, tested the concept personally, and bootstrapped manufacturing relationships. Blakely said, "I think failure is nothing more than life's way of nudging you that you are off course." Her creative approach to problem-solving built a billion-dollar business from almost nothing, demonstrating the same resource multiplication mindset Elisha taught the widow.
The deadly stew solution. When the sons of the prophets accidentally poisoned their communal stew with wild gourds, causing a life-threatening crisis, Elisha's solution is startling in its simplicity. Bring some flour, and he put it into the pot. 2 Kings 4:38-41. The flour neutralizes the poison, making the stew safe to eat. This demonstrates crisis management, staying calm under pressure to think clearly. Simple solutions, not overcomplicating responses to complex problems. Resource utilization, using everyday materials for extraordinary results. Community care, taking responsibility for others' well-being. The Johnson & Johnson Tylenol crisis. In 1982, 7 people died from cyanide-laced Tylenol capsules, creating a national panic and threatening to destroy the brand permanently. Conventional crisis management suggested limiting liability and protecting the company. Instead, CEO James Burke made an Elisha-like decision. Immediately recall all Tylenol products nationwide, costing $100 million, cooperate fully with investigations, and develop tamper-resistant packaging. Like Elisha's flour solution, this approach seemed costly and unnecessary to many observers, but it addressed the root issue, consumer safety, rather than symptoms, brand protection. Tylenol recovered completely and became the gold standard for crisis management. Burke later said, "The public trust is a precious thing. Once you lose it, it's very difficult to get back." The Shunammite's room investment. Elisha's relationship with the wealthy Shunammite woman reveals his strategic thinking about relationships and mutual benefit. She builds him a room, and he offers to use his influence with the king or army commander on her behalf. 2 Kings 4:8-17. When she declines political favors, Elisha identifies her real need, childlessness, and promises her a son. This demonstrates relationship investment, building long-term partnerships based on mutual value. Needs assessment, looking beyond surface requests to identify real issues. Value creation, offering solutions that matter most to the other person. Trust building, following through on commitments with supernatural results. The Warren Buffett partnership approach. Warren Buffett has built lasting wealth through similar relationship-based thinking. Instead of extracting maximum short-term profit, he creates long-term partnerships with exceptional managers and companies. When Buffett invests in businesses, he often provides more than capital. He offers reputation, stability, and strategic thinking. Like Elisha with the Shunammite woman, he identifies what people really need beyond obvious requests. Buffett says, "It's better to hang out with people better than you. Pick out associates whose behavior is better than yours, and you'll drift in that direction."
The Naaman's healing innovation. When the Syrian general Naaman comes seeking healing from leprosy, Elisha doesn't even meet with him personally. Instead, he sends instructions through a messenger. Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times. 2 Kings 5:1-14. This unconventional approach reveals sophisticated psychological insight. Ego management, addressing pride that prevents solution acceptance. Accessibility demonstration, showing that healing doesn't require complex procedures. Systematic process, creating repeatable methodology rather than one-time intervention. Humility requirement, forcing recognition that solution comes from divine power, not human status. Naaman initially rejects this simple solution, preferring more impressive rivers in his home country. But when he follows Elisha's instructions, complete healing results. The Apple Store Genius Bar. Steve Jobs created a similar Naaman innovation with Apple Store's Genius Bar concept. Instead of traditional tech support, complex procedures, multiple departments, status-based service levels, Jobs designed simple, accessible help that treated all customers equally. Conventional computer retailers suggested complicated diagnostic procedures and expensive repair services. Jobs' team created straightforward solutions. Bring your device, explain the problem, receive clear guidance. Like Elisha's approach with Naaman, this seemed too simple to work effectively, but it revolutionized retail technology support and became a key differentiator for Apple's customer experience. Jobs said, "Simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clean to make it simple." The siege strategy innovation. During Ben-Hadad's siege of Samaria, when starvation reaches cannibalistic extremes, Elisha prophesies that within 24 hours, food will be abundant and cheap. 2 Kings 7, 1-2. His prediction seems impossible given the circumstances. The fulfillment comes through an unexpected source. 4 leprous men who discover that the enemy army has fled, leaving behind vast supplies. Elisha's confidence reveals his understanding of hidden opportunities, recognizing that apparent disasters often contain breakthrough potential. Timing precision, understanding when circumstances are ready for dramatic change. Systematic thinking, seeing connections between seemingly unrelated events. Faith-based planning, making decisions based on unseen realities rather than visible circumstances. The Zoom pandemic opportunity. Eric Yuan built Zoom with a vision for easy video communication, but the company struggled to differentiate itself in a crowded market. When the COVID-19 pandemic forced global remote work, what seemed like a business disaster became Zoom's breakthrough moment. Like Elisha during the siege, Yuan had prepared for an opportunity that others couldn't see coming. While competitors focused on enterprise features, Zoom emphasized simplicity and reliability that proved crucial when millions of people suddenly needed video conferencing. Yuan said, "Happiness is the key to success. If you are passionate about what you are doing, you will be successful." His faith-based approach to building the product enabled Zoom to capitalize on an unprecedented opportunity. The resurrection innovation. Elisha's most dramatic miracle, raising the Shunammite son from the dead, reveals his most sophisticated problem-solving approach. 2 Kings 4, 18-37. When the child dies, Elisha employs a systematic methodology. Personal involvement, goes to the house himself rather than sending others. Environmental control, shuts the door and prays alone with the child. Physical engagement, lies on the child, mouth to mouth, eyes to eyes, hands to hands. Persistent effort, repeats the process when initial attempt produces only partial results. Complete restoration, continues until full life returns. This demonstrates the highest level of creative problem-solving, willingness to engage personally with seemingly impossible challenges through systematic, persistent innovation. The Tesla autopilot development. Elon Musk's approach to developing Tesla's self-driving capability mirrors Elisha's resurrection methodology. When conventional automotive AI companies said full self-driving was decades away, Musk committed Tesla to systematic innovation. Personal investment. Musk personally drives beta versions and stakes his reputation on the technology. Controlled environment, creating specific testing conditions for safe development. Iterative engagement, continuously improving the system through real-world data collection. Revolutionary goal, pursuing complete transformation of transportation rather than incremental improvements. Musk said, "I think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary." His approach demonstrates the same systematic persistence that characterized Elisha's most challenging miracles.
The mindset principles. Analyzing Elisha's complete miraculous portfolio reveals consistent creative thinking patterns. Resource maximization. He consistently found ways to accomplish extraordinary results with ordinary materials: salt, flour, oil, sticks, water. Root cause focus. Instead of treating symptoms, he addressed underlying issues: purifying water sources, eliminating debt through entrepreneurship, solving community food crises. Systematic methodology. His solutions followed logical processes that could be repeated and taught to others. Relationship investment. He built long-term partnerships that created mutual value rather than extracting short-term benefits. Faith-based innovation. He made decisions based on unseen possibilities rather than visible limitations. Practical application in your life. The Elisha Innovation Framework. How do you develop the creative problem-solving mindset that characterized Elisha's ministry? Let me give you 4 practical steps for thinking like the most innovative person in biblical history. Step 1. The resource recognition. Learn to see possibilities in ordinary materials and circumstances. Asset identification. What resources do you currently have that you might be underutilizing? How could everyday materials or tools be applied to solve complex problems? What skills or knowledge do you possess that could be combined in innovative ways? Where are you overlooking simple solutions because you're expecting complex ones? Constraint reframing. How might your current limitations actually be advantages in disguise? What would be possible if you stopped focusing on what you lack and maximized what you have? Where could scarcity force creativity that abundance might prevent? How can restrictions become catalysts for innovation rather than barriers to progress? Combination thinking. What unrelated resources could be combined to create unexpected solutions? How might tools from one field solve problems in a completely different area? Where could you apply successful methodologies from other contexts to your current challenges? What would happen if you approached your problem like Elisha would, with available materials and creative combination? Step 2. The root cause analysis. Develop the ability to address underlying issues rather than surface symptoms. Problem depth exploration. What's the real issue behind the obvious problem you're facing? How might fixing symptoms actually prevent you from solving the root cause? Where are you applying Band-Aids when major surgery is needed? What would addressing the fundamental issue eliminate permanently? Systematic solution design. How can you create processes that prevent problems from recurring? What sustainable systems would eliminate the need for repeated interventions? Where could you invest effort once to create lasting benefit? How might your solution become a model for others facing similar challenges? Community impact thinking. How does your problem solving affect others beyond the immediate situation? What solutions create value for multiple stakeholders simultaneously? Where could your innovation serve broader purposes than just personal benefit? How might your creative approach inspire others to think differently about their challenges? Step 3. The relationship investment. Build partnerships that enable mutual value creation and sustained innovation. Value creation focus. How can you solve others' problems while addressing your own needs? What unique capabilities do you possess that others would value? Where could you create win-win solutions that strengthen relationships? How might helping others succeed accelerate your own progress? Long-term partnership development. Who could benefit from your creative thinking and problem-solving abilities? What relationships would provide you with diverse perspectives and resources? Where could you invest time and energy to build lasting collaborative opportunities?
How can you become known as someone who creates solutions rather than just identifies problems? Trust building through delivery. How will you follow through on commitments to build credibility for future innovation? What specific results will demonstrate the value of your creative approach? Where can you underpromise and overdeliver to establish reputation for reliable innovation? How will you measure and communicate the impact of your solutions? Step 4. The faith-based innovation. Develop confidence to pursue solutions that others consider impossible. Possibility expansion. What would you attempt if you knew failure was not permanent? How might current limitations be temporary rather than absolute? Where are you accepting impossible when you should be exploring not yet figured out? What breakthrough could transform your entire situation if you could achieve it? Systematic persistence. How will you maintain effort when initial attempts don't produce desired results? What processes will help you learn from setbacks and refine your approach? Where will you find motivation to continue when others suggest giving up? How can you view challenges as opportunities for creative problem-solving rather than reasons to quit? Legacy thinking. What innovations could serve people beyond your lifetime? How might your creative solutions inspire others to think differently? Where could your breakthrough approach become a model for future problem solvers? What would change if your innovation mindset influenced your entire community or industry?
The Creative Innovation Assessment. Use these questions to evaluate and develop your Elisha-like thinking patterns. Current Mindset Evaluation. How often do you look for simple solutions to complex problems? Where do you automatically assume problems require expensive or complicated fixes? What resources around you are you failing to recognize or utilize? How frequently do you address symptoms rather than root causes? Innovation readiness. What would you attempt if you had Elisha's confidence in creative solutions? Where are you avoiding problems because conventional approaches seem inadequate? How willing are you to try solutions that others might consider too simple or unusual? What relationships could you build that would expand your problem-solving capabilities? Legacy potential. What innovations could you develop that would serve others long after you're gone? How might your creative approach to current challenges inspire breakthrough thinking in others? Where could you pioneer solutions that become models for your industry or community? What would change if you approached every problem as an opportunity for creative innovation? The innovation legacy. Elisha's story teaches us that the most powerful force in the world isn't supernatural miracles, it's creative thinking applied to practical problems. His 50-year ministry demonstrates that divine power works best through human innovation, not despite it. Every challenge he faced became an opportunity for breakthrough thinking. Every limitation became a catalyst for creative solution. Every problem became a platform for demonstrating that impossible situations are just innovation opportunities in disguise. The mindset transformation. The difference between Elisha and other leaders wasn't access to divine power. It was his willingness to think creatively about how that power could be applied to real-world problems. He didn't just perform miracles, he engineered solutions that transformed how people understood what was possible. This same mindset is available to us today. The challenges you face in business, relationships, personal development, or community impact are opportunities to develop Elisha-like thinking that finds possibilities where others see only limitations. The creative challenge. As we conclude this exploration of biblical innovation, I want to challenge you to adopt Elisha's approach to problem solving. Look for simple solutions to complex problems using available resources. Address root causes rather than surface symptoms. Build relationships that enable mutual value creation. Pursue breakthrough solutions with faith-based persistence. Create innovations that serve purposes larger than personal benefit. Remember, creativity isn't just an artistic gift. It's a problem-solving mindset that can be developed and applied to any challenge. Elisha proved that the most ordinary materials can produce extraordinary results when approached with innovative thinking and persistent faith. Your current limitations might be the raw materials for your greatest innovations. Your biggest challenges could become your most significant breakthroughs. Your willingness to think creatively about impossible situations might be exactly what your community, industry, or family needs most. If this episode inspired you to approach problems with Elisha-like creativity, share it with someone who needs to see limitations as innovation opportunities. Let me know in the comments, what impossible challenge are you ready to approach with creative problem-solving? Remember, the most powerful miracles often look like creative solutions to practical problems. Your next breakthrough might be just one innovative idea away.